A while back, I made several of these walnut end grain cutting boards with these detailed CNC inlays. But what I'll remember most about this build was the opportunity to work with my son. My son is non-speaking and autistic, and the workshop has been a place where he and I can connect with very few words. So this project has become much more than a bunch of cutting boards. Let me show you how we did it. So if you know me, you know I like to make a plan and sketch out my ideas in my sketchbook before I start, and it really helps eliminate mistakes. But this time, let's get right to the shop. Milling the lumber is probably one of the most important steps in building these end grain cutting boards to make sure everything lines up correctly. And it's also one of the most boring things to watch. So I'm going to speed right through it in this video and get to the good stuff. So this jig is called an L fence, and I actually copied this design from a video I saw from Bourbon Moth, and it's worked out very, very well. But it allows me to fasten a straight edge to the top of a rough cut piece of lumber and run it along that L fence as a reference and get a nice straight edge. And once I get that straight edge, then I'm in a position to start cutting the strips for the cutting board. And there are a ton of them. And you'll see from this video that I'm cutting them actually extra long because I'm going to glue up in long sections and then chop them down into smaller pieces later. So now we're ready for the first glue up, and this is where the payoff comes in for taking your time and milling the lumber correctly and getting everything as straight as possible. The key here is to make sure that you take your time and put a lot of culls and keep the panels as flat as you possibly can. Once the glue is dry, we can run them through the planer for actually the last time, as these are now essentially edge grain cutting boards, and we can plane them, but once we chop them up and make them into end grain, we won't be able to do that anymore. So let's take our time and get these as best possible. Now that we have it all glued up and flat, let's cut it up again into more chunks. Now we're going to turn this into an end grain cutting board. And the important part here is to label and number your pieces so that when you glue them up, you can arrange them, make sure that the grain flows, and that you get the best possible looking outcome. Now that the glue's dried, we can take it out of the clamps, but now we can't put it through the planer because it's an end grain board now, so we have to scrape it by hand. And we'll square up the edges a little bit here before we put it on the CNC. If you don't have a CNC, you can certainly use a slab flattening jig with a router, but this really works great, and it's really important to get the top perfectly flat before we start doing any inlays. Now, suffice it to say, I could do a whole video just on the inlay process, and if that would be of interest to you, let me know in the comments and I'll put one together. But the super fast version is you do a V-carve inlay, and then you do a V-carve pocket as a mirror image for the plug. And once the plug is done, we got to cut it out and trim it up and really take your time to clean up all the fuzzies. The cleaner you get it before you insert the plug into the inlay pocket, the better chance you have to avoid any gaps and for a much, much cleaner inlay. Now we're ready for glue, and this is make or break time. This is where all the time you spend cleaning out the pocket as well as the plug pays off. And the key here is to use plenty of glue and make sure you get glue in every nook and cranny into that pocket to make sure it's well seated, and then get plenty of clamping pressure on it to make sure it seats well. But whatever you do, don't do what I did and clamp it so damn tight that this happens. I tightened it so much it cracked the actual board, which meant I had to start over. So, after a lot of off-camera profanity and a couple of beers, I was able to gather myself up and get back to work and actually start on what's probably the most fun and the most stressful part of these CNC inlays, which is milling off the plug to see how the inlay actually turned out. And this is where the payoff comes, and this is where you find out whether or not you have gaps. And actually all of them turned out really, really well. Well, at least for the most part. Welcome to screw up number 2, where the bit came loose and created huge gouges in the board that can't be fixed. Well, got to start this one over as well. Well, after sorting that one out, I finally got to do some rough sanding to see what the final inlay looked like. As if I haven't been subjected to enough abuse by this project, I decided to increase my anxiety by adding detailed border around the perimeter of all of these boards with multiple woods. I cut up some strips of maple and wenge and then created a thick walnut border, and really screwed up because I glued on these pieces individually, waited for them to dry, and then glued up the next species. So I started with the maple, then I went to the wenge, and then I went with the full walnut border. In the end, I should have glued up long strips of all three woods up first and then just cut them and mitered them and put them around the border as one piece. And here you're seeing me at the end of the border work, trimming off the edges just to make the board square and in its final form. And then what I did was put a 20-degree chamfer around the bottom edge of all the boards just to make them easier to pick up since they're pretty heavy at this point. Okay, I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a little bit because this is by far my favorite part of the entire build. This is my son Cameron, and he is non-speaking and an autistic adult, and he really has a hard time communicating and sharing what he is interested in. Recently, we started a text-based communication program, which has actually opened him up a little bit, and he's been able to share some thoughts and ideas with us that we've never been able to get out of him before. And one of them was that he wanted to work with me in the workshop, which definitely melted my heart. So getting him involved in finishing these boards and working with me in the shop was definitely the highlight of my year. And I'm really looking forward to more opportunities to incorporate Cameron into our work safely, but giving him enough pleasure and enjoyment out of the activity, which this time he really did seem to enjoy. You ready to get to work? Yes. All right. I named this channel Woodshop Therapy, not only because this craft is extremely therapeutic to me and many others, but I really wanted to raise awareness about autism and share some of Cameron's journey in hopes to encourage others to find ways to incorporate people with special needs into this wonderful craft we call woodworking. If any of you have thoughts and ideas on how best to incorporate folks with special needs or make our craft more adaptive for these folks, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Cameron did a fantastic job sanding and oiling and finishing these boards, and I got to tell you, my heart was super full that day. So Cameron and I are already looking forward to our future projects together, so if you stay tuned on this channel, look forward to seeing more of Cam. So a little board butter is the home stretch. So this has been a very technically challenging project for me, but definitely an emotionally heartwarming project as well. I hope you enjoyed it, and here's some final shots.